I'm Colby.
And I'm Katie, and you're listening to
What Would Teachers Say? All right, boys and girls, school is now in session. Most embarrassing moments as teachers. We've all been there, whether you're a teacher, whether you're not a teacher, whether you're a firefighter or a policeman or any of those other traditional American jobs. We've all had our very embarrassing moments, whether you're in the office, workplace, or whatever. But with teachers, I feel like they happen more often than not. What do you think?
I would agree.
You would agree? Yeah.
And in the most unfortunate circumstances.
100%. Now, I'd probably on the regular have pretty embarrassing moments, probably once or twice a week, maybe once a day or so, just because of
who you are,
who I am, and the circumstances that I bring upon myself. A lot of them are self-inflicted embarrassing moments, whether it's, I'm drawing something on the board and it's a wiener, or not that I was trying to draw a wiener because I don't teach anatomy and physiology,
or you're doing a math lesson that involves balls, and fifth graders go absolutely nuts, and we have to
no, you didn't.
No pun intended.
You meant to do that.
No pun intended.
Or how about in math where like the number just happens to come out to be 69 as the answer? Like those are always things. And
or 21.
Or anytime, or anytime you say something and you want to so bad say that's what she said.
Oh,
and
I have to wait and say that to my colleagues.
Right, because you have fifth graders, and I may or may not be able to get away with it a little bit more with high schoolers. But that's another story, another podcast about differences between high school and elementary school teaching. But today's podcast, we're getting into the most embarrassing moments. So, Katie, I find humor in a lot of different locations, and I think that both of our most embarrassing moments, and I think you know where this is going, they're very similar to each other. They're similar in more than just one way, and one of those ways has to do with the key root word in embarrassing. And for your situation, the bear-assing is kind of key. So let's start off with your most embarrassing moment as a teacher.
All right, gracious. Okay, so first year teaching.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, this is back in 2009. And this was when it was high stakes testing. So, in elementary, you have to have your entire room covered in butcher paper so that no student can see anything that would have anything to do with any sort of testing item.
Of course.
And of course, back then, the smartest thing would have been to just take everything off the wall and throw it away, right? No. Okay, first year teacher, I have to cover everything up because I don't want to get rid of everything.
So this is your absolute first year teaching?
Absolute first year teaching.
Okay.
So cover everything up. Everything's perfect. Get back in. I think that was a Friday, possibly. It really doesn't matter. Come in the next morning, whatever day it was, and all the butcher paper had fallen off the front of the room, and we were going to be testing within, 30 minutes, and I had to figure something out.
Okay.
So I try to find a ladder of some sort, or a step ladder, so that I could get up on there, and because it was above my whiteboard to put the tape back on.
Right.
So couldn't find one. So I said, screw it. I got to do this quickly. Found a chair, got up on the chair.
Because no ladder is ever available when you need it as a teacher. It's like, Here's a rolling chair. Here's a flimsy desk that's got 3 legs.
Or a kidney table.
Or a kidney table that the legs of that are, I got 3 pieces of cardboard underneath so that way it doesn't wobble when kids ride on it.
Unless you purchase it for yourself.
That's true.
You don't have it.
So you find a chair.
I found a chair, and it wasn't like a normal desk chair. It was like a cushioned, like teacher chair.
Lot.
Did not have wheels on it though.
Okay.
I was proud of myself on that one. I'm 5'11", by the way, so I'm not short by any means, but I had to get on the chair regardless, and I had to get up on my toes. Well, I tried to balance myself, one foot at the front of the chair and the other foot on the back to kind of balance, push up. Next thing I knew, the chair starts leaning forward and I flip backwards.
Oh, no.
Key point here. I was not in the room by myself. I was in front of my entire 4th grade class.
No.
And I went backwards, hit my head on a desk, and the next thing I remember is I could hear kid voices, but I could hear them being removed from the classroom and adults coming in. So laid flat out on the floor, gave myself a concussion, a bone contusion. The worst part is 911 was called.
Oh, no.
And an ambulance showed up in the front of my school. Really not the worst part, though. Worst part being...
Wait, time out. So you basically busted your ass from standing on a chair in front of your entire classroom. You said you hit your head, gave yourself a concussion and a bone contusion?
Yes.
But that's not the most embarrassing part. What's the most embarrassing part?
Well, that was embarrassing.
Oh.
But the most embarrassing part was I had a dress on.
Oh, no. I can see where this is going.
And, of course, what do you think happened when I fall backwards in a dress?
Reverse Mary Poppins, that umbrella just
flew up.
Oh, Lord.
Now, my kids were concerned about me, but I did have...
Time out. What you wearing underneath that dress, girl?
Well, some of my boys...
Oh, no.
quite enjoyed themselves, I guess, because even years down the road, you know, when Facebook became a thing...
Oh, no.
For younger crowds, there were some comments made that they would never forget. At the time, I was Miss Jones.
Oh, man.
So yeah, that's quite embarrassing, right?
You gave them a memory that they will never forget. Let me just, I hope, were you wearing like not your holy granny panties that are like super comfortable that you lounge around the house in to this day? By the way, we're married, in case you didn't. I don't know if we ever have said that in any of our introductions. We are married and have 2 children. So I know about the
different types of underbridges.
The different underbridges.
No, thankfully at that point in time, I didn't really have any quote unquote granny panties.
Any holy granny panties.
No.
Lord. All right. Well,
All
yeah,
right.
that was pretty embarrassing.
Right, it is pretty embarrassing when you also have to miss because you can't walk and you're on crutches and you basically use up all your sick days your first year teaching when you don't really have much to begin with. So that was kind of...
So you were out for some days after that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, my bone contusion was huge. So much so I had to have crutches.
Where, on your
and
leg?
A boot.
How did you hit? I think I've heard this story before, but how did you hit your leg to where you got a bone contusion?
I'm assuming that my body was trying to be a gymnast, and I guess I just did one of those.
You try to tuck and roll or something?
Tuck and roll and figure eight it. I don't know.
What are you even talking about? Figure eight it?
I don't even know. I'm not that flexible.
Don't try this at home, kids.
No, please don't. And don't do it in front of children. Hence why they said, I think our insurance policy at our district, mind you, I was in a different district, specifically stated it's basically illegal to stand on chairs because of Me.
Yeah. So right after you
Because
did
I was
that, they're
known in the
like,
district
"Oh,
as that girl.
yeah, Miss Jones, we need to change up the rules and regulations here because she done busted her ass trying to cover up some what do you call them charts? The anchor
Anchor
charts
charts.
with all the testing
Which for
answers."
me, I hand make those.
Yeah,
So I didn't want to throw them away.
of course not.
But looking back, I'm like,
Should have just thrown away them things.
I should have just ripped all that stuff down and started from scratch.
Wow.
So there's my moment. And I know I'm not the only one that has any sort of embarrassing moment. I know yours.
Yes, mine's
And
pretty
it is
popular.
pretty much matches you to a T.
Yeah.
So it's your turn to show your ass.
All right. So, listening back to your story, I am reminded of a few things on how and why our stories are so familiar. One, the embarrassing part, because mine also has to do with the hindquarters, but I'm not showing mine off like you were. And
Not intentionally.
yeah, not intentionally. The second thing is this my story kind of happened like in my first year as well, but it was my first year teaching. It was my first year teaching at this new school. And something that I didn't realize until now is both of our stories have to do with state testing.
Mm-hmm.
Because my most embarrassing teacher moment also has to do with state testing. So let me set the scene for you here. So I was teaching ninth grade honors biology. This is probably like 8 years ago or so, and this is after we switched over to the digital format. And so we were taking our kids down to we had like a little computer lab where we would take our kids down to, and they were getting ready to take their tests. Now, typically on state testing days, our administration likes to change up the schedule a lot and likes to mess up the lunch schedule.
Us too.
Yeah, and you know how teachers get with their schedules. Like you wake up at a certain time, you
You have a
drink your
routine.
you got your routine. You drink your coffee at a certain time, then you go poop at a certain time, and you just do your things at a certain time because that's when you're supposed to be doing your things. So the lunch schedules were messed up. You know, everybody's always a little nervous around testing day. So
Even teachers.
even teachers. And so I ate my delicious lunch that my wife had prepared for me.
You're welcome.
Yep, thank you. And the old tumbly had a little rumbly in it, and my tum tum wasn't feeling too great. And I thought, it's a little gas, so no big deal. I'll just do like what I normally do and just crop dust the kids whenever I get a chance, and just have a little bit of walking farts and just all that kind of stuff. Head down to the media center or to the testing room, the computer lab, and as I was collecting their phones on their way into class, I had two girls actually, that came back from the bathrooms and were so frantic about what they had just heard coming from the boys' bathroom. And they're like, Coach, listen, there's something. And I was like, hold on, slow down, whatever, catch your breath. Like, tell me what's going on. It's like, there's going to be a school shooting today. I'm like, what are you even talking about? Like, no, there's not. It's like, nothing, that's not going to happen. No. The boys were talking about it in the bathroom. I was like, okay, for sure. Then definitely it's not going to happen because you know, uh, boys are dumb. Like, just come on in here, whatever. I'll handle it. Like, how do you even know this? Like, well, they said something was written in the bathroom walls and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay, I'll get the media center specialist to check it out because our media center is actually located kind of at the end of the hallway next to the computer labs where the bathrooms were. So in front of everybody in the class, I'm trying to make sure I'm cool and calm, collected. I called down there. I was like, hey, it's me. Just want to let you know, these girls, how they are sometimes. They heard something coming from the bathroom from the boys because boys are dumb. and said something was written on the wall or whatever, something about, I don't know, some threats. So if you can just call an admin to come down, scope it out, like no big deal. Just check it out. Make sure everything's hunky dory. That'd be great. And so she said, cool, do it, whatever. So hung up and we get testing underway. Now, the tum tum is still not feeling too good. She's still a little rumbly.
Now, was that my lunch that I made?
This was not your lunch. So this is the reason why this story is affectionately referred to as the Yolanda story. Because the day prior, we had gone out to eat at a Mexican restaurant, and I decided to get something a little bit different. Normally I'd like to just go with, just nachos, whatever, but I saw a little something on the menu that struck my attention. It said Yolanda. It was two chicken burritos with some salsa verde sauce and maybe some like cheese dip on or something, but that wasn't what had my attraction. It said also with special sauce.
Now, if you know anything about Colby, he loves him some special sauce.
I'm all about
where
the sauce.
we are.
Yeah, I'm a sauce guy. So like I love trying all different kinds of sauces. Whenever we, go to a restaurant and get fries, like, what kind of dipping sauces you got? I'm always curious about their sauces. So anyway, I tear it up. Little did I know it was going to tear me up the next day. So here's where the story really starts to take a turn for the worst. I start reading the script, which if you're a teacher, you understand what the script is. The script is the instructions for the testing, and it has just all this teacher jargon in it. At this point in time, yeah.
You have to read it word for word.
Yeah, word for word, you have to. And it's just so like
Your
robotic.
license is tied to it, all the things.
Yeah, it's robotic and it's monotonous, and it's at any point in time, are there any devices in the room that which can retain or transmit any it's just all that stuff. So I am like speed reading this bad boy because my stomach is just absolutely on the fritz, and I am trying to get through the instructions so that way I can peek my head out the door, find one of our hallway monitors to ask for some assistance so that way they can come relieve me of my duty, of my duty.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. And then right when I finish reading the script, boom, an announcement comes over the loudspeakers of the school that says,
"Oh, there's no telling what this is.
Pardon the interruptions, faculty and staff. We are currently going into a lockdown."
Dun, dun, dun.
Boom. I don't even know if that was a boom after the end of it, but that is the worst possible news that I could have gotten, because now my kids are freaking out. One, because they, knew about the threats. They automatically assumed that it had to do with that. And I was like, oh crap, it does have to do with that. Yeah. Oh crap. And number two, your boy had to go. Number two, real bad. So I had to go over and lock the doors and do all the things. And then once I got done reading, I texted my AP who was in charge of testing. I was like, I have an emergency in here. I need you to come down here and I need you to relieve me. I have to go to the bathroom really bad. So
what was her response?
Was her response,
like, yeah, cool, or like, seriously?
Her response was, on the way. And I'm sitting in a kid's little desk chair watching them take their test. I'm talking sweating. Like my hands are sweating, my armpits are sweating, my back is sweating, like everything is sweating.
Like when you really got to go.
Because
you're about to have the green apples.
Yeah, I had to go. So probably a minute and a half, 2 minutes later, the door opens up, keys jangling, and my admin comes in and her radio is just absolutely blaring because the administration is trying to figure out like what's going on with this lockdown. They're trying to figure out all this stuff. So she comes in, all that kind of stuff. And she's like trying to, turn it off and all that, whatever. And the kids so distracted. They're looking around, they're freaking out. And then they see like their teacher now get up and leave the classroom, and the admin stay in the classroom and smiling and just like, waving like, hey, how are you doing? It's good. Everything's fine. It's good. It's all good. And then the door closes. Now I am in full panic mode because I'm trying to find a teacher bathroom, because I am not about to go in no student bathroom where who knows what has been going on. So I'm thinking, oh, perfect. The media center is right here. There's a teacher bathroom in the media center. I'll go in here and do the unspeakables and, carry on out with my business and then get back real quick. No big deal. But we're in lockdown. And guess what's locked?
The door.
The media center door.
Oh.
So I am like a squirrel on the road when a car's coming right at it, like running back and forth between the hallway and the door and trying to figure out where to go. And then I look up and I see one of my assistant principals coming down the hallways. And he yells down the hall, Colby, what are you doing? And the only thing that I could respond with was, I gotta go to the bathroom. And so he yells back at me, just go in the boys' room right there. And I was like, okay. So I run into the boys' room. Of course, boy code, you go in the last stall because that's the poop stall.
Well,
Get back in there.
Another story for another day.
Yeah. And I'm in there, and then I just unleash the crapping. Like, you seen the Dumb and Dumber movie where just all the things are happening, like the noises, I'm having to hold on. Like, it's just, I'm just along for the ride at this point. Yolanda and her special sauce are just forsaking me just over and over and over again. But that's not the worst part of it, because then I was wondering why my assistant principal was walking down that way. Because he was coming to the boys' bathroom where the death threats and the shootings and the bombs and all the things were written.
Wait. So you're in the stall.
I'm in the stall pooping.
And here comes people.
In the bathroom where the death threats were written. And not just written like anywhere. They were written on the mirror in front of the sink. So
completely bypassed.
I was not looking at any sort of writings or anywhere. I was trying to find a bathroom that was clean enough for me to put my tuchus on and unleash. So my admin comes down and he comes into the bathroom and was like, okay, so here, oh my God, what is that smell? I'm like,
so nobody knew you were in there.
Nobody knew I was in there. And I'm like, I even piped up, I was like, sir, it's me, Colby. You told me to come in here. It's like, I didn't mean for you to come in this bathroom. I got a dang bomb threat on the wall right here, and you're in here just blowing the toilet up. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't help it. And he's just cracking up laughing. Next thing you know, I hear footsteps. Here comes my principal. All right, well, we got in. Oh my God, what is that smell? Oh my God. And then my other assistant principal goes, that's Colby. He's in the stall. He's supposed to be giving his milestone test right now, but he's pooping his brains out. And then they get a great laugh about it. And I'm over there just having the worst time of my life. And then,
oh no, there can't be more.
More footsteps. And we're not just talking about just like regular footsteps. These are some shiny boots with some blue pants attached to them. And sure enough, 4 police officers are marching right in the bathroom where I am just having an absolute just terrible time in there. And as each one of them approached, it's the same thing. All right, man, what do we got? Oh my God, what is that smell in here? And then, of course, my administration has to keep telling me, like, oh, that's Colby. He's one of our teachers. He's supposed to be giving his milestone test right now, but he's just pooping his brains out. And just one after the other. So finally, I get done at some point, and of course, they're still in there. Like, I was like, what do I do here? Do I sit here and wait? Do they finish? Like, are we trying to do this like, like I'm not gonna finish before you finish kind of thing? And so I open the door, and it's like the record scratching in a bar when you shouldn't be where you're supposed to be, and everybody's just looking at you. And of course, like, I'm not just going to leave because everybody knew what just happened in there. So I have to wash my hands. And where do I wash my hands? Well, I have to excuse myself in front of the police officers who were trying to take pictures of evidence and marking off with caution tape the only sink that was available. And that was right in front of where the bomb threats and the school shooting stuff was written on the mirror. So I'm looking down at my hands and washing them off and trying to wash off the pain and the embarrassment from my hands, but it would not come off. At the same time, I'm looking at myself through the Sharpie handwriting through the mirror and seeing the police officers and both of my one of my assistant principals and the principal in the background staring at me, laughing, but also kind of like not laughing and trying to, keep it cool and just being mad at me. And then I'm like, excuse me. I just have to, just soap, got to wash my hands off. I don't know if you heard what was happening in there, but it's not okay. All right. Thank y'all. And so then I get back to my classroom, where my kids are in the computer lab, and open the door, admin leaves, whatever, and we just continue out our time in there together. And the best part of that story is I had one of my kids make 100 on the milestone that year. So
that's pretty awesome for that kind of story.
that crap was worth it.
So, babe, that was pretty embarrassing.
Yeah.
I mean, mine was embarrassing too. So, but we are kind of curious. There's no way that just the two of us have embarrassing stories. I know a bunch of us have those types of stories, no matter what career you're in. We all make mistakes. We all have crazy things that happen. Yolanda, or wearing a dress, standing on a chair, being stupid like that. So we're just kind of curious for y'all to share your stories with us. You can find us on Instagram at What Would Teachers Say, as well as YouTube. And just DM us your most embarrassing moment or topic or something of that nature, and we will feature it on another podcast. I think it would be cool to rehash another episode, maybe a part 2.
Oh yeah, part 2.
Kind of share
what you guys
stories, even like our colleagues. I know that we've talked about different stories. So hit us up.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening to our very first episode of the What Would Teachers Say podcast. We're very excited to be able to deliver to you a weekly episode every Monday for your enjoyment and for your entertainment. And remember, teachers are people too, and everyone loves a good Amazon gift card. Class dismissed.